Good evening. Happy Tuesday. I got this little bug flying around, so we'll see how that works, right? So today I'm coming to you hot right away. I was just in the car. I pulled up. I thought, man, that's it right there. So what I was just thinking about in depth, I was like, wow, that's like kind of almost having stuff I already know, but having real epiphany moments about it. I was like, damn, like, and I learned this a lot, and this is applicable to the mental health community. Much of the stuff I learned, as I've stated before, is a result of my journey with mental health for probably the better part of my life. No, definitely. It's first on Ritalin when I was like very young. So anyway, what I was just thinking about having like a revelation about was the labels that are used in that community, right? Whatever they decide to label you with. Whatever your symptoms are representative of that fits whatever that label is, whether it's obsessive compulsive disorder or general anxiety disorder or depression or bipolar or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or attention deficit disorder or some variation of a bunch of those comorbidities. They're still labeling you. And I guess I don't think about it as much as I think I do, but right now it's like that was a wild revelation for me, because I was like, the labeling that happens in this world, whether we realize it or not, causes us to basically pigeonhole ourselves into a certain identity. And because I think a lot about how your identity really does create your reality. That's where your sense of worth or lack thereof comes from, your self-image. So, for example, in business, if you can't see yourself as a top performer, if that's not how you see yourself, aka you don't think you're worthy of it, and you put other people perhaps on some sort of a pedestal, and you say, well, that's for them to achieve and that's for them to accomplish, but that's not for me, because you don't see yourself that way. But it's the same concept, and the reason I'm bringing it up is I like to ask myself, why? Why? Like, what's the origin of this way of thinking for me? And I think that the labels, especially when I was young and didn't know better, caused me to further pigeonhole myself and label myself in other ways as time got on, because I got used to that concept of labeling. And kind of going back to one of the previous videos where I spoke on, particularly with mental health, don't fight it. Do not fight it. Focus on mental wellness, not mental dis-ease. Forget where I was going with this. This happens all the time. But again, this is off the cuff, so forgive me. I know where I was going. I could feel it. I just kind of lost my train of thought. Bear with me. I think, let's see if I can find it this way. I think kind of where I was going with it is, when you resist it, you are digging that hole, that pigeonhole, deeper. So when you fight, when you're in the label and then you fight it, you highlight it more and you're digging that hole deeper and deeper for yourself, which is why I think over the years, until I kind of woke up and understood, I think that's why it progressively got worse for me. And again, this was like, it was contagious in the sense that it caused me to label myself in other facets of my life as well, that continue to cause problems for me. Like personal problems, not even related necessarily to my mental health journey, but it caused me to label myself in other areas of my life that ultimately what became my self-image and my identity, and caused me to seek and ultimately get results that were in alignment with that identity. So I talk a lot about alignment, but I believe in it so much because I've seen it. And if you can't properly, if you're labeling yourself too much, especially in a negative way, I'm kind of more of the mind now that we're infinite beings, we're spiritual beings, and we're limitless and we're boundless. So I don't think there should be any labels, frankly, because I think even, okay, this is a good example. In your profession, for example, why do you have to label yourself as I'm a doctor or an attorney or I don't know why forgive me, I'm like 24 plus hours into a water fast right now, about to break it. Anyway, my mind's is very funny. If you're a CPA, an accountant, whatever, what have you. For some reason, I can't think of different occupations right now, but that's not here nor there. The point is, why do we label ourselves and pigeonhole ourselves into just that? I'm just a doctor. And that's all I am, and that's all I ever will be. Why? You're a limitless, boundless being with unlimited potential. Why would you pigeonhole? Because this has been my big revelation over the years, is, again, starting with that labeling surrounding mental health, but I think it was contagious in the sense that it caused me to label myself in other areas of my life and say, well, I'm this, I'm that. You're not even your name. Really? Your name is something that was given to you by your parents. But I think it's the reason this is important is because when you're growing up, a lot of these labels you didn't even put the label on yourself. You're not even really consciously aware of their origin or same thing with opinions. Like we didn't form our own opinions because of how we were brought up. We like this food. We speak the language we speak because of how we were brought up. But I guess what I've really realized is there's plenty we can do if we let ourselves just be the limitless being that you are, and quit placing these freaking labels on yourself. What you should think, I think it is important to have your self-image rather than, oh, I can't do that. No, I can do that. I am that person. But realizing that you are everything. I think that's where that saying comes from. Whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve. Whatever you set your mind to, there's a lot of truth to it. But if you're setting your mind to predetermined labels, what do you expect? And it's crazy when you wake up to it because you're like, a lot of it is self-imposed, but a lot of it is just from upbringing and not questioning stuff. I think my family used to always laugh. It's like, oh, there goes Cito. He's always questioning. It was like Curious George. Why? But why this? But why that? But I think there's a certain, it's healthy to question things. Don't take things at face value and go, oh, well, the doctor said I'm this, so I'm always going to be this. And who knows? That's just an example. But what I'm saying is, think more limitless. Let go. Why do we have to label ourselves? Why do we put ourselves in a box? What's the point? We're here to experience life at its fullest. At whatever we want that to be, right? So, and I'm not preaching, by the way. I'm speaking from a place of complete gratitude and understanding and acknowledgement that me, like everyone, used to think exactly like this. And it's not your fault. But here's the caveat to that. You and only you are the only person that can change that for yourself. No one can come in here and drop these different identities and drop these different associations and get you out of the box, for lack of a better term for it. They can't. You have to elevate your level of conscious awareness enough to realize, oh, this is how it is. This is how it is for me now. My life is reflecting that in a lot of ways, but I have to get in there myself. Again, awareness is the first step, right? Now that I'm aware of it, I have to get in there myself and make the necessary changes. No one can do it for you. So, just some food for thought. Again, everything I give is not a prescription. It's just food for thought. I'm not out here. I'm not out here trying to tell people how to live life and blah, 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 blah. The reason I am out here is from the heart. It's stuff that I've noticed along my journey. Again, most of it has come from my tremendous struggle with mental health over the majority of my life. But again, it's not a prescription. It's what I've learned that seed away. It's basically my truth that I've come to find through my life, through my entire experience, particularly through my struggle with mental health. So it's just food for thought. My only hope is, look, if it's in me, I need to share it. And like I've said before, this is something that God has put on my heart for a long time. You need to share what you've learned. You need to share it not as, again, a prescription or in a preachy manner, but merely as food for thought. Hey, this was my experience. And take it or leave it. Take some. Hopefully, it at the very least, again, is food for thought and gets you to think and ask probing questions of yourself, because I think that's a lot of what life is about, is having certain conversations and stuff of that nature that gets you to go within and introspect. I don't think people introspect enough anymore and go within themselves and allow these certain interactions, excuse me, to cause them to ask probing questions of themselves and to really be honest with themselves and go, is this something that applies to me? And if so, in what way? And how could this change my life? And then by changing my life, how could this change other people's lives? Because you can't pour from an empty cup, people. So you can't pour from an empty cup. So how can I better my life, right? And then in turn, turn around and try and bless others through what I've learned, through the knowledge and wisdom that I've been blessed with. That's it. Not a prescription. Take it or leave it. It's food for thought. It's my truth. I hope to inspire more people to find their own truth, their own path, their own divinity, and their own calling in this thing we call life. So much love to you as always, and have a blessed evening.